Medicine is so incredibly difficult to work in to begin with, and it's so tiring. I can't even imagine having given birth and have a young baby at home and coming back to work and just being exhausted. But thousands of women are doing that every day across this country in the PA profession. My hat is off to them, to you if you're one of them. And I think it's important that we talk about this topic, about what the special challenges are that people face getting pregnant when they have a career in medicine, and then how contracts work and maternity leave and parental leave in general. I have a very special guest with me today who is going to talk about this topic. She is a PA mom herself, and she has started an amazing support group to help other PA moms. So let's dive in and meet her and hear what she has to say about this topic.
I'm Raquelle Akavan. It's an honor to be here to talk to everyone today. I started my career in plastic surgery and then quickly went to neurosurgery, where I worked at Jacobi Medical Center, which is a level one trauma center. And I did that for 6 or 7 years. And then we moved to Austin, Texas, and I worked in surgery here for several years. Now I'm actually the director of clinical education at the first PA program in Austin.
So, in addition to all of this amazing PA career you've had, what are some of the other things that you're involved with?
So I actually am the founder of PA Moms and also founding president of PAs for Women Empowerment. So the reason I started PA Moms was basically out of my own need. When I had my daughter, I was pretty young at the time, and a lot of my PA friends were not having kids. So I kind of felt lonely, and I felt like I, needed to vent and talk about things and get advice, and I didn't have that. So that's why I started the group on Facebook. And a couple of years later, realized that the group is so amazing. We support each other so well. And we honestly are such a strong, cohesive group that we can really make a difference in the PA profession. So that's why I created the special interest group, PA Moms, that's now affiliated with AAPA. And now we're actually the largest special interest group with AAPA.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah. And I have to say, because Rocky and I have met previously, and she was kind enough to actually let me into the group, even though I'm not a PA mom. Don't tell anybody. But I have to say that I think it's one of the most amazing groups that I've been a part of on Facebook. And a lot of the mom stuff it doesn't pertain to me, but I'm actually learning a lot because I don't have kids and I didn't have a great peds rotation and stuff. So I learned when they talk about things that are going on, with their kids, and it's just a great supportive space. And it's not just about kids too. There is so much talk about medicine in there and just back and forth and learning from each other. So it's a great job because it really is an amazing thing that you've started.
Thank you.
So being a PA mom, I can only imagine that comes with its whole set of challenges from, when you first find out you're pregnant and trying to figure out what you're going to do. Can you talk about that from a medical professional's perspective of facing that?
Definitely. So when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, she was my first, one of the things that I was mostly afraid of are workplace hazards like radiation. Some people work in orthopedics. They're worried about cement that they're using because it could, these things can affect the fetus. So I went straight to the Facebook group and I was like, hey guys, like, what do you do during pregnancy? Like, do you go into the OR with the C-arm and the radiation? And I was able to get answers directly from experienced moms that have already gone through this. So I think just having that support and that's like just one challenge, but like definitely having the support and having experienced moms to go to for questions is really important.
Yeah, that's something I've never even thought about, is that before you even have to think about taking time off from work to have the child, I didn't think about all of the factors of things that may harm the fetus when you're just doing your job. So when people are going to, have a child and they need to take time off, how does maternity leave work in medicine? Is this something that most organizations have like in place, or do people just use their vacation time? How does that work?
Yeah, so I think in corporate America, it is pretty normal to have paid maternity leave, but for some reason, with the hospital organizations, I have not seen a paid parental leave for women and men. So that's the issue. So people are taking FMLA, which is unpaid leave. So they basically get 12 weeks of unpaid leave, and then they can take their vacation and PTO. And so that's what I've seen from the group on PA moms, and I've seen that through just like experience as well. And I think that that's one of the things that institutions can do to help with gender discrimination and disparities is start giving parental leave to all genders and then also giving paid leave as well. And some states have already created laws and legislation for this, like New York, and I believe California as well. But that would be really helpful.
So we've talked about already the things you have to think about when you're, carrying the baby, and then how you're going to arrange time off, which is very interesting. I didn't even realize that. I just thought there were maternity plans in place, but it's really quite striking to hear that women just have to take, this time off without pay. But beyond those issues, what about just being a mom once you've become a mom and you're working as a medical professional? What other challenges come up in the workplace?
Once you go back to work, you have to find childcare. Your spouse or significant other may not have time off, and so they can't trade with you, and that causes issues. None of this stuff is paid, so it causes financial strain for the family. The other thing is, our children, they get sick, right? And it's usually the mom who has to stay home, right? And so we have to like change that culture really. And it depends. Like if your spouse is making more money, you may decide that you have to be the one that stays home, right? It just depends on the family. But I think that it really does hinder women from stepping into leadership positions, like having to always be the one that takes off work for sick children. They're the ones also breastfeeding the children. And then so at work, we need to have the time to actually pump and be able to make that milk for our children. And sometimes we're not given the adequate time for that. Sometimes it's just during our lunch break we're given, and that's not fair, right? Like we're not actually getting the actual time or the space to do what we need to do to make food for our children. And so that's an issue as well. Obviously the first couple of years of having a kid, like you're super tired. And so that's why having the mentorship and having the support is so important. And that's why PA Moms, honestly, like the group is so important. It started in 2016. And I think that women now and moms feel not only that they belong, but they have a voice now, so that's like really important.
Yeah, that was the first thing that popped into my mind when I thought about challenges of working as a PA mom is that just the exhaustion. I mean, I'm already exhausted practicing medicine. In fact, I just released a video about why it's so exhausting to work in medicine just in general, and to add on the responsibilities of a new child and not sleeping through the night, all these things. I bow down to to PA moms. It's a pretty amazing thing that y'all do. Any working mom out there.
I just want to point out these moms are literally the strongest people I've ever met. And some of the most talented women are in the PA Moms group. And so they should be highlighted and commended for all their hard work. They're working really hard for our patients. And then back at home with their families, they're basically like the superhero. So it's pretty amazing what they do.
Yeah. And how do you think being a mom makes you a better provider, a better clinician?
I think it gives you just more empathy. It gives you a perspective of, if you're a pediatric caregiver, then you know what it feels like to be that mom, right? It gives you that perspective that you need.
Being a provider that hasn't had a child, there's just some things that when you're talking to the mom or the parent of a patient, they're asking you for your advice on stuff. They're asking you like, is this normal? And I'm trying to remember from a textbook if this is normal. I think once you're a parent, and this isn't obviously just PA moms, this is any parent, but I do think it really helps to be able to have that experience to draw on.
It is nice. It does change your perspective. I remember in PA school, because I didn't have kids then, trying to memorize all the milestones for the infants. And it was so difficult for me to memorize for some reason. And then all of a sudden I had kids. And now I'm like, oh, it clicked. When you're just like experiencing it, it's just like a totally different thing.
But on the flip side of that, I've often thought that I think it's harder for people once they're parents in some aspects to handle when something bad happens, especially to children, you know. So like working in a pediatric cancer center, it's got to tug at your heartstrings a little bit more when you're a parent, I'm sure.
Yes, no, that is so true. That is very true. I think that's kind of like going into like even a different issue of provider burnout and like mental health of providers too, right? Because I don't think that a lot of people are jaded, right? They really do get really affected by patients who die at work or traumas that happen and things that happen. It's really hard. It's really difficult for moms and all genders, all people. It's just really we our job is really hard and really demanding.
So one thing I want to ask about is when you're a young woman and you're going to negotiate your contract, do you have any advice for what they should ask about if they plan on having kids in the future? Is there anything that they should negotiate for? Anything you want to share on that?
I think it's a good idea to see what kind of policies your institution that your or clinic that you're interviewing for has as a baseline. I think it's really important to look for an institution that has inclusive policies, that it doesn't mention just pregnant people or maternity, that it mentions parental leave, because obviously there's non-traditional families too that you need to take into consideration. So it should be more inclusive of language. Also, it would be nice if they had paid parental leave. So I'm not sure if I would ask that in an interview, but I would go on their website and check to see what is available to employees. And I think there's definitely red flags that could happen during interviews. If they're asking you when you're planning on having a child, that's a red flag. Like they should not be asking you that. They're asking you anything about like family life at an interview. I feel like that's prying too. They're trying to figure out like when you're going to leave and go on maternity leave. That's not fair either, because they're not going to ask a man that. They're just asking you because you're a woman. And I've seen it. I'm not like just making this up out of thin air. This happens every day on PA Moms, where people are saying, I went on an interview. They asked me when I want to get pregnant. They're asking me about, how many children I have and all this, all these details that have nothing to do with your ability to be a good provider or a good PA.
This is a difficult topic, I think, especially for, people who aren't moms, because I often see things from the business organization side, and I'm like, yeah, I do see it would be harder to have somebody that's going to be gone and harder to have somebody that is going to have to leave to go home and take care of kids. But it doesn't change the fact that we're still human beings. We still worked hard to get where we're at. We still have careers. And it's just something that I think our society hopefully is getting better at, but needs to get much better at, is understanding, especially here in the US, understanding that this is life and that we have to not just exclude women, we have to make it so that everyone can function the way they need to, take care of their kids and do their jobs. And I don't think it's too much to ask for when you're creating life, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think as a family unit, like whatever your family looks like, it's really important that institutions, create equal, equitable, and inclusive parental leave policies. That will really help with these issues, because then it's not only 50% of the workforce that's leaving for, a year. It's the other half too. Your male counterparts are also having the opportunity to take care of the family as well. So it really does make it more equal. So I think that that's part of the solution, to be honest with you, and it helps take the pressure off of just solely women, and it will help women get into leadership positions. Like we need equality. The reason why we created PAs for Women Empowerment is because we have a seat at the table we're a caucus, so we get to go to the House of Delegates, and we can create policy, and we can do lobbying and to make legislation. So that's why that group was created, to try and help with women in the workforce and the healthcare profession and try to advocate for us. So definitely join PAs for Women Empowerment, but PA Moms is a great place to have support. We also, PA Moms has like a ton of free benefits. We give free Category 1 CME. We have a job board, and there's discounts on medically related products as well. So we have a ton of great benefits that we're giving for free, and plus the mentorship and the community and the belonging. And I feel like we really give a voice to all women out there. So it's just amazing.
And so if people want to join PAs for Women Empowerment, then I'll have that link down below there. And how much is that to join that group?
For fellow PAs, it's $55, and you have to be an AAPA member in order to be a member of PAs for Women Empowerment.
And then if people want to join the PA Moms group, the Facebook group, is there any charge for that, or how do they go about doing that?
No, it's a totally free membership with free support and free resources for everybody. We're actually going to be having a conference next year. So if you want to join, it's a Facebook group right now. You can put the link below because it's like a longer URL. But we have a website. It's www.pamoms.com, and a lot of our resources are there. We're also having awards this year in 2023. So doing that and recognizing our amazing members. So really excited, and we're really looking forward to all you to join PA Moms. It is only for PAs, so you have to be a PA to join. You don't have to be a mom. You just have to be interested in becoming a mom in the future to join.
Yeah, so I do encourage people, if this is a topic that interests you, it is a fantastic group to be involved with. And that is a fabulous place to get input from other people who have been there and done that and can give you advice and perspective. So thank you so much, Rocky, for joining us today. And thank you so much for having the foresight to start these groups and be involved with these groups to really help out women.
Yes, you're welcome. It was an honor to be here. Really happy to be on the medicine couch. I've been watching you on all of your other really great informative videos. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, that was awesome. Rocky is a very industrious and special PA, and she has really created an amazing group. If you haven't checked out the PA Moms group yet on Facebook, please do so. Also, if you want to help support women in general, you can join the PAs for Empowered Women group. Rocky and I also did a separate interview about women PAs in general, the challenges that all women face, and ways to overcome those challenges and to help make the workforce more equitable. So if you're interested in that interview, when it's done, it'll be linked here. Thanks for joining me today. Take care, stay sane, and I'll see you next time on the Medicine Couch.